Hey, hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Chastity. Here we talk about beauty, entertainment, celebrities, books, movies, anime, TV shows, and kind of anything else that garners my attention this week. But before we get into today's video, I am a part of Amazon's influencer program. So if you click the link in the pinned comment below, it'll take you over to my Amazon storefront where you can shop all of my favorite things. So if you want to do a little shopping while also supporting me, click the link in the pinned comment below. And today we are talking about Pretty Little Liars Original Sin. Huge spoiler warning for this video. We're talking about it all, especially talking about episode 10, which was one of my favorites this season. Before we even get into this review or whatever, I'm gonna be completely honest that I've never actually watched the original Pretty Little Liars. I think I've seen a couple episodes and I've definitely watched a lot of people's hour plus long video essays, but I have not ever actually sat down and watched Pretty Little Liars. But I have watched the sequel shows. For what reason I don't know, but I have. But the actual Pretty Little Liars show, ain't never really seen it. But I will say to watch, at least right now for the first season, to watch the first season of Pretty Little Liars Original Sin. You really don't need to watch the show. I would recommend maybe watching a couple YouTube videos so you can be familiar with the universe. But I don't think as of right now you need to directly watch the show. I think it's a show that can stand on its own. There are little Easter eggs and stuff that does connect back to Pretty Little Liars, but not so much that if you don't know it, you're gonna be confused. Because of that reason, I wouldn't really consider Original Sin a direct sequel to Pretty Little Liars. It just happens to take place in the same universe. We also find out it takes place in the same universe as Riverdale, which is concerning at the barest minimum and terrifying at the most. So you're probably wondering why someone like me who really wasn't a fan of the original series would jump into the new show. And I think the main reason for that is because this season it still holds its murder mystery whodunit roots of the original series, but with a slasher twist. And if you are new to the channel and you're new to me, I love horror movies. Horror is my favorite genre. I am not super into the slasher films, I'm not gonna hold you, but I do have love and appreciation for them. So when I found out that Pretty Little Liars was gonna have a slasher spin, that actually made me super excited because I could really see how that could work, and seeing the execution, yes, it could definitely work. Also, I was excited because I've watched pretty much every slasher show that has come out because I like horror and I will always give anything horror a try. And so far, the slasher shows we've gotten have fucking sucked. They've been terrible. Either they're poorly written or the main characters are terrible, awful. I'm not rooting for a single person. They just really haven't been good and compelling. But Original Sins definitely has been. So let's talk about the synopsis of Original Sins. 20 years ago, a series of tragic events almost ripped a blue-collar town of Millwood apart. Now, in the present day, a group of desperate teen girls, a brand new set of liars, find themselves tormented by an unknown assailant. Original Sins has two timelines. We have the 1999 timeline and the present day timeline. So 1999, we are following the Core 5's mothers and their relationship with a young tormented girl named Angela Waters. We're gonna get really into the mother's relationship with Angela Waters, which ended up leading into her tragic death. Next, we'll be talking about the characters. We're talking about Karen and Kelly. We're talking about Mouse, Noah, Farron, Tabby, and Imogen, as well as their corresponding mothers. I will also be mentioning other characters where I feel like they fit into the narrative and that they're important to telling each of these characters' stories. But yeah, like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, heavy spoilers. First up are Karen and Kelly. Karen and Kelly are twins and they are the mean girls of the school. I would say that Karen is the meaner one out of the sisters, And they're both like wretched. But like Kelly is that like church girl, nice, nasty, very backhanded compliments, always pretending like she's being helpful, but she's really just being a bitch. Yeah, that's Kelly. She's more passive aggressive, and Karen's more aggressive. We find out that Karen and Kelly used to be best friends with Imogen once upon a time, but then Karen's boyfriend kissed Imogen and she decided to take his side and not take hers. And from that point forward, Karen and Kelly have made it their mission to make Imogen as miserable as possible. Like I said, Karen and Kelly are both bullies, but Karen is a heinous ass bitch, okay? Karen is a nasty individual. And the core five are some of the people that Karen likes to bully. Now, with some, behind the scenes shit from A orchestrates something where it gets the core five in trouble. And the only thing they have in common that links them all together is Karen. So they decide that they're going to take Karen down a peg or two and, give her a little taste of her own medicine. Now, the taste of that medicine was not good. I'm saying that because we almost witnessed Karen be taken advantage of while she was drunk. That's the video that they show everybody to embarrass her. And I'm like, embarrass her? She was almost assaulted, guys. But also, Karen's not bullying me. So I can say it's too far because I ain't getting bullied. But they do that and they embarrass her. But Karen's not going to let that go. So Karen has a plan to carry Imogen because she knows that like the video is something that only Imogen can have. So this whole plan happened because of Imogen. So she gonna make sure that she whacks Imogen back. So she plans to concede the crown for some type of prom dance thing. I don't listen. That was 9 episodes ago. It's been weeks. But she decides to concede to Imogen so Imogen can win, and she was going to pull a Carrie on her. But unfortunately, while Karen was in the rafters, A popped up like the weed that A is, and gave her a little shovey shove off the rafters, and splat went Karen. Now, following Karen's death, I did see a lot of fan theories that like it wasn't actually Karen on the rafters, it was Kelly. And for a minute, I did subscribe to that theory, but then after a while, I kind of conceded that maybe Karen is just a little batshit, just a tad. Because at first, it kind of made sense because after Karen had died, Kelly had moved her locker, like her ballet locker. They do ballet. I forgot to mention that because they're not better than Farron, so what is it to mention? But they are ballerinas and jealous of Farron because the talented black girl, of course she would be. But she moves her ballet locker to Karen's locker. She's just wearing Karen's clothes. She starts sleeping with Karen's boyfriend. She tells Karen's boyfriend to call her, Karen. But I was thinking that would be such an obvious plot line. And I do think maybe that Kelly either has like a personality disorder or she so desperately wants to be Karen and she desperately wants to have Karen's life because Karen had the boyfriend. She was a cheerleader. She is their father's favorite. Karen is her mother's favorite. Karen is the better ballerina of the two. So there is a lot to be envious of. So there is a possibility that she just so desperately wants Karen's life that she's just trying to become her. Because like the main, like, I feel like, because the theory of her being Karen also kind of falls apart when people were like, Karen always wears heels and Kelly only wears like flats and sneakers and stuff like that. And when Karen was on the rafters, she was wearing sneakers. But I'm like, well, she's doing stealthy and sneaky shit. Why would she be wearing stilettos? Like, she's trying to climb up the rafters and carry some girls. You're not doing that in 6-inch heels. You're doing those in flats and sneakers. Again, I just feel like Karen being Kelly just too much of an obvious plot line. Okay, so now let's talk about Mouse and her mother, Elodie. So Mouse whole gig is being like this computer whiz. We do see some of that in this season. Hopefully we get a second season, we can see more of what Mouse can do on the internet beyond what we've seen so far. But the thing with Mouse is when she was young, she was almost kidnapped, and that greatly affected her and her mother's, specifically her mother, Elodie, who we then find out that like she wasn't getting kidnapped by a stranger, but or maybe possibly not even kidnapped at all. But the man that approached her was her biological father. Now we find out that Elodie was going to be a surrogate for this couple. Now they weren't doing it like the proper way of like going to a facility, them picking her getting paid a lot of money. No, it was kind of more of like the under the table type of stuff. And Elodie had decided that she wanted to keep the baby, and so she ran and married this woman. They have this beautiful, beautiful child now. Now, Mouse was also greatly affected by the almost kidnapping. It was very traumatizing for her to the point where now she has like this Discord server where she talks to the parents of missing children, and she kind of pretends to be their child and gives the parents comfort. It's this thing of just like traumatic people coming together. Like these parents have their trauma of their kids going missing, and she has this trauma of almost being taken and now having these overbearing and suffocating parents. Elodie is like bonkers. Like she's not out past a certain time. She's not allowed to go here. She's not allowed to go there. She has tracking devices on her. Elodie is extremely paranoid about Mouse being taken by her biological parents. And it's crazy. All of the scenes when Mouse is doing her like little thing of pretending to be like these parents like missing children was so uncomfortable and so weird, and I think for good reason. That was the whole point, to make you feel kind of creeped out, especially one of the parents who like gets extremely attached to Mouse and actually like starts stalking her and following her places, and like he finds her at the bowling alley, and he shows up at her school. It's real weird, real weird. And it was good though. It was good. It was good, but it was weird. It was so weird. I do like Mouse. Like her nickname suggests, she is a very mousy girl. She's not like my favorite of the core five, but I don't really dislike any of the main girls. I think they're all very likable in their own specific ways. Mouse is just mousy, and she's sweet. Her and what, I don't know her boyfriend's name, escapes me, but her and her boyfriend are so cute. They're adorable. They're so sweet. He is the only man on this show I trust, because every other man on this show is absolutely horrendous. Terrible people. But I do like Mouse's little boyfriend. They really cute. So Angela Waters was friends with Mouse's mother and the rest of the core five's moms. Now we find out that they just decided that they were just gonna pick this one girl and they were going to bully and torment her because girls were just mean in the 90s, which, okay, that's an excuse, I guess. Each mother did something that greatly hurt Angela Waters, which led up to something horrific happening to her, and Angela Waters going as far as to unalive herself. Now, how Elodie ties in with Angela Waters is they were in a secret relationship, and they actually did end up getting caught kissing. And instead of just like fessing up and being like, oh, we have a thing for each other, it's the 90s, so we gotta lie. And Elodie was like, shorty kissed me, she's obsessed with me, yada yada yada, completely throwing everything on to Angela Waters. Next, we are talking about Noah and her mother, Marjorie. Now, Noah is a track star who is trying to get her life back in order after spending the summer in juvie. We find out, like, in the beginning of the show that, like, she has, like, an ankle monitor and she has to be drug tested every morning to make sure that she is not doing drugs. how she got in the situation is the police noticed, I guess, like that Noah was like walking around with people probably smoking weed, and that caught the attention of the police, who then went to her home and did a search, and then they found things that were way harder than weed, and we find out that those drugs actually belonged to her mother. But Noah decided to take the rap for her mom because she felt like her mom had more to lose than she did, which I hate that for a young girl, to feel like she has nothing to lose. And you do have so much to lose when you're so young. And also, like, shame on her mama for letting her teenage daughter take the fall for her. If you're grown enough to do drugs, like hard drugs, you're grown up, take the fall for it. So what happened between Marjorie and Angela Waters in the 90s? Well, Marjorie persuaded Angela to smoke weed with her in the back of the school. Then they got promptly caught by the janitor. And what did Marjorie do? Place the blame on Angela Waters. Even though her mother is crazy religious and doesn't play shit like that, she put it all on her. And like, I would say that like Marjorie is like the second worst mom. I know someone gets worse than this, but she fights for the last place, because it really does feel like out of all of the mothers, she learned the least after everything that happened with Angela Waters. You can see a real stark difference between who a lot of the mothers were when they were teenagers and who they became as adults. And then you have Marjorie, the drug addict, that hasn't learned shit. Not a goddamn thing. Let's talk about Farron and her mother, Corey. Farron is an extremely, extremely talented ballerina, okay? She is that girl. Like, she's an icon. She's talented, all right? She's extremely talented, and because of that, because ballet is a predominantly white sport, she is faced with many microaggressions from her ballet teacher to some of the other students. Karen's bitch ass, that's why you're dead. That's why you're 6 feet under, girl. You couldn't keep up. But anyways, Farron is quite honestly my favorite, like, member of like the core five, because when like Karen dies, right, and everyone's like giving like their sad words, mind you, this girl bullied all of them, but everyone's being like, oh, I'm so sorry that you're gone, and then Farron's like, I'm actually pretty happy that you're dead. You tormented me and made my life very horrible. Sucks that you're dead, I guess, but you're still a bad person, and I live for that. I'm sorry, I do. I love a real bitch. I love an honest person. And when someone is horrible to you in life, it's okay for you to be happy that they're dead. It is. I think if you're being tormented and the tormentor dies, you should be allowed to throw a party or two. I'm just saying. And I just love how real Farron is. Like, I feel like out of all the girls, like in real life, I would have been friends with Farron. She's my type of girl. We would have great conversations. Just, that's my sister in my head. Also, the actress that plays Farron is like unnecessarily beautiful. It is insane how beautiful that woman is. Out of like the mother-daughter duos, Farron and her mom have the worst one, because her mother is actually like disgustingly bad person. Like, it is insane to me the things that Corey did to Farron. So, like I mentioned, Farron is a ballerina. She's been doing ballet since she was like 6. I think around 9 or 10, her ballet coach noticed like a slight curve in her spine. So her mother took her to the doctor. She found out she has scoliosis. But the thing is, right, you can correct scoliosis. You can get surgery and stuff like that. So she ends up getting surgery, and now she has a scar on her back. Now, with the sleuth of A, we find out that doctors said that Farron would not need surgery, and they actually put that it would actually be worse for her if she underwent surgery. So the best option for Farron was to not go through surgery. and her mom forced her to do it anyways. And now for like the past, what, 5, 6 years, Farron has been having on and off chronic pains. And again, she now has a very visible scar from the surgery. A scar that her mother tried to get her to go to a plastic surgeon to get removed. Farron's mother, Corey, is obsessed with perfection. She is a true perfectionist. From her trying to correct her spine and trying to get rid of her scars and stuff like that. Mind you, scars that she caused. Because Farron never needed the surgery. Which, she lied to her husband about her daughter needing surgery. She lied to her daughter about her needing surgery. That is insane. That woman is crazy. Like, Farron is much nicer than me, because the way I would never speak to that woman ever again. Like, you mutilated me for absolutely no reason. None whatsoever. Speaking of Corey, what did Corey do to Angela Waters? Well, what she did was she convinced her, mind you, this girl is extremely Christian, a very Christian household, but she convinced Angela that her and the rest of the girls are getting their initials tattooed on them and that Angela should get one too. And so while Angela is in the chair getting tatted, Corey disappears. And now Angela has this giant A tatted right here on her arm. Personally, I would have beat Corey's ass. But that's me though. Now let's talk about Tabby and her mother, Sydney. Tabby, which is short for Tabitha, is an aspiring director and horror movie buff. Now, normally when like movies and shows have characters that are like film buffs, they're either extremely annoying or they're pretentious as fuck. But I really like what they did with Tabby, where like she does it not too much for you to get annoyed, and then like you have other characters who get annoyed for you, because I feel like a lot of times these characters aren't like rebuffed. There's no anyone that's like, this is weird that you quote movies all the time, like, can you relax? And we have that in Original Sin. And again, I think because Tabitha is written the way she is, she's just not annoying. Like, it's really hard to find Tabitha annoying, even when though she's like written kind of like her character is written to be woke, but not like, I don't know if you've seen like the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, how that's written to be woke, and it's like, okay, we fucking get it. I think like she's written like just enough to be like a young black girl that is aware of her surroundings, but also still cringy because you're a teenager, so you don't really know much, if you get what I mean. It's a specific way that like if you're like a young black person, you remember when you became socially aware for the first time and you were kind of cringy. And that's Tabitha. She's 16, 15. She's supposed to be cringy. But I don't dislike her. I like her a lot, actually. And she's also another one of my favorite characters. Tabby also works at a movie theater with Wes and a fellow classmate named Chip. Wes is a piece of shit. Okay. He's a grown man, went to NYU and everything, that very much so likes Tabby, even though she is a child. And at one point does try to like pull the moves on her and like give her wine at his house, and like she just needs like a thumb drive from him, and he's like, I'll give it to you if you have dinner with me, and like essentially tries to hold her hostage. That's why when her mom came in and threatened to cut his dick off, listen, out of all of the mothers, Sydney is the closest semblance to a good mother. She has her moments. She does. But when it's time to show up for her baby, oh, she gonna show up every single time. And she's the best mother out of all of them, okay? Because when it's time to be a mother, to mother her child, oh, she gonna be there. And when she threatened to cut Wes' dick off, I said, I know that's right. Because I would too. Now, I would have made her quit, personally. You're not gonna work with this creepy man after he just told me that he tried it with you. But you know what? Baby steps. We're baby stepping into being a good mom. Now, Chip. I don't have much to say about Chip because Chip's in hell. Okay, next person. I'm sorry, we're not done yet. Something that is part of Tabby's, and I'll get into Imogen later's storyline. Tabby was assaulted sexually one night. She was invited to a bonfire party during the summer. She got very drunk, and as she was walking home, she was assaulted by someone. She doesn't quite remember who it was, but yeah. And so that also ties into her mother and Angela Waters, because Angela Waters was also assaulted sexually, and Sydney is the one that actually was told first, and she did not do anything to actually help Angela and get Angela any help, and we will see what she does more later. But as of right now, she knew about the assault and she did not stand beside Angela the way she should have. But she is standing beside her daughter, so at least she has learned something from the whole Angela Ward situation, which is why I feel like she's one of the better parents, because she's definitely learned her lesson and is trying to be better actively. Next, we are talking about Imogen and her mother, Davy. Now listen, Imogen's badass, okay? Imogen was pregnant for this entire season, and they stopped her from living life at all, okay? She is the definition of a final girl, and I love that. I love the fact that the final girl is a pregnant teenage girl that is going against the odds at every fucking turn. There is not. Imogen is the best main character. She just simply is. It's just Imogen and her mom, Davy. Her mom and dad got divorced when she was really young, and her mom moved them to Millwood, and this was just their big moment to have a real home. Now, like I mentioned, Imogen was best friends with Karen and Kelly since she moved to Millwood, and then everything crashed apart when Karen's boyfriend kissed Imogen, and Karen decided to not take Imogen's side. That night, Imogen was heavily intoxicated and ended up leaving the party extremely upset and going to a beach where she ends up being, she says that she woke up and she had no memory of the night before, but her underwear was missing and there was blood on her dress, and that's the night that Imogen actually ends up conceiving her baby. And her mother, Davy, is extremely supportive. Though she doesn't know the truth of this baby's conception, she tells Imogen that she is going to help her raise her baby, that they're going to still be a family together until she is given a flyer, like she gets sent a flyer about the New Year's Eve party that ended with Angela Waters unaliving herself. And that same night, Davy then unalived herself in the bathroom. Now, I'm gonna get into what Davy did to Angela Waters a little bit from now, just a little bit, because that kind of goes into my review of episode 10 and kind of explaining and wrapping up this whole season. So in episode 10, A abducts each of the parents and is going to hold a trial for their sins, the bad things that they've done. But before we can get to the trial, the daughters must get revenge for their bullies. So I'm going to go down what each thing the girls had to do for their revenge for their bullies. So Tabby had the task of carving a A into Chip's chest, because we find out that Chip was the one that sexually assaulted Tabby and Imogen, which makes it even fucking worse, because I didn't even talk about the fact that like Imogen and Chip starts dating like halfway through the season, which I thought it was weird. Why would a teenage boy want to date a pregnant girl? Like, not even on some like being pregnant is bad, just like she's pregnant, it's not your baby. That's a lot of drama to get yourself into at what, 16, 17 years old. This man knows that he raped her and knows there is a very, 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 very high possibility that he is the father. And he dates her. At first, they are in health class. They're supposed to take care of a robot baby. And he asks to be her partner, knowing what he did. And then he makes her fall for him. And they start dating. Hell is not hot enough for this man. Moving forward, Noah is tasked to overdose her mother's drug dealer to give him a taste of his own medicine. Mouse, like I mentioned during Mouse, that one father that gets like obsessed with her. So he's tied down to a chair and he's surrounded by mouse traps. I think she's supposed to like make him touch them or whatever. Which I feel bad for Steve because Steve just lost his child and he's not coping well. Okay, but still stalker. But also, I couldn't imagine losing my child and then finding out my child's actually dead, not just missing anymore. But we move on. Farron has the opportunity to mutilate her dance instructor, which I feel like that one was a stretch. Like, her bully is her mother, but they need her mother for the trial, so like, let's get the slightly racist ballet teacher. And then for Imogen, she has to confront her mother's lies because her mother has been lying to her about what happened in the past. So we find out who A is. A is Archie Angela Waters' twin brother, who is being helped by their father, who is the principal of the school, which honestly explains so much because I was very confused how A was consistently getting into the school to be able to torment these girls. And like he had his own room in the building where he was like setting up traps and shit. So I was very confused how he was able to do that, as well as the school janitor ends up catching him and he kills the janitor. And I was confused why nobody was concerned about where the janitor go or where his body went. Like, I was confused, but finding out that like the principles behind everything, that does make a lot more sense and clears up any loose ends on that account. Because again, I was lost on how, also like how he knew where these girls lived, how he was able to do something at the school. But now I know, as well as I was wondering how he was able to tamper with Noah's like drug test. But now that his daddy the principal, well, that makes sense. So what actually happened to Angela Waters? So we find out that in high school, their senior year, Davy was dating Imogen's mother. Davy was dating a boy named Tommy. Now we find out that Tommy is Tommy Beasley, Karen and Kelly's father, who is kind of like one of the big antagonists this season because Karen ends up dying and he blames the core five, but it's like, why was your door up in the rafters to begin with? The fuck, nigga? Like, what? Anyways, and he spent a good portion of the season trying to get these girls like locked up. Like, he wanted these girls under the jail for his daughter's death. He is in the closet and he's a part of the youth program, like for like offenders and stuff like that, like the kids who gone to juvie and stuff like that. And he gets sexual favors from those boys. He's a fucking monster. So we find out that in the 90s, Tommy, to prove he was straight, sexually assaulted Angela Waters. Mind you, at the time he was dating Davy, so wouldn't him dating Davy and then eventually having sex with her prove he was straight? Did he have to SA somebody? I don't think so. I feel like that was a little bit of a leap and a jump. But he assaults Angela. Angela is devastated. She's traumatized. And that's when she ends up telling Cindy what happens. Now, she just tells Cindy that she was assaulted. She didn't say by who. And Cindy ends up telling the rest of the girls. Now, Davy goes to comfort Angela. And then she asks her, well, who did it? And she told her it was Tommy, her boyfriend. And instead of being a decent person, she just believed that Angela was lying and that Tommy was innocent. Again, why would Angela be lying about that? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever, but okay. And Davy devised this plan for not just their friend group, but for the entire school to pretend like Angela Waters does not exist. They wanted to erase her, which I could not imagine. After being tormented by these girls who are supposed to be my friends, I am then assaulted by one of my friend's boyfriends. And then the entire school pretends like I don't exist. And I just have to ask, how did you even get the entire school to play along with that? Like, a whole bunch of sheep. Ain't nothing but followers. Because me personally, I wouldn't have done that. Like, girl, no, that's y'all beef. That don't got nothing to do with me. If I see Angela Waters, I'm going to speak to Angela Waters. Because what are you going to do about it, Davy? You going to fight me? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It just boggles my mind, the power that they had, that she was able to get the entire school to pretend this poor girl did not exist after everything she went through. Now, all of that then leads to the night of the New Year's Eve party where Angela Water is begging people to look at her, to pay attention to her, to speak to her, because I could not imagine, again, after being assaulted, how isolating it could have been to be ignored by the whole school. Like, again, because being ignored is one thing, but being ignored after you've been assaulted, that's two separate things. Which then leads her to climbing up the rafters and saying, "Do you see me now?" And then jumping. No, I'm not gonna do it. I was gonna say a lot, and I'm not. I'm not. Because I'm not gonna do that to myself this fine Friday. The final scene with, not final scene, but you know, at the end of the episode when Imogen is fighting A while she is literally going into labor, that's a bad bitch. That is final girl material. Do you hear me? There is a child trying to exit her body and she is fighting with a killer. And that was such a beautifully choreographed scene. Oh, it was so good. Bailey Madison is literally, she's like a year younger than me. She's a fucking legend. She's been acting since she was little and you can tell. Okay? She's not new to this. She's true to this acting shit. She is so, so talented. And it's so good to see her like as like a grown up now, like really getting into her acting value, because I know a lot of children actors are just good as kids and now that they're adults. But Bailey, oh no. The talent is just brewing. Oh, it's just brewing. So we find out at the end of the episode that Imogen is not keeping her baby. She's giving her daughter up to a couple in Rosewood. The couple's name is Aria and Ezra. Now, I again, did not watch Pretty Little Liars, but I do know Ezra's a creepy little bastard. A grown man that has no problem dating teenage girls. And I was really, I get why they probably said their names, be a little nod to the original. But Ezra got no business around children. That man is a predator. Keep all kids away from him. Okay? I was hoping maybe after the first series he would go to prison. I hate the fact that he groomed Arya so bad that they're still together to this day. Because I get why Arya was picked, because in the series, I know, again, didn't watch it, but I know that Arya had fertility issues. So her adopting Imogen's baby is not crazy to me. But why does Ezra's creepy ass have to be attached? That baby does not need a groomer as a daddy. No, she does not. And I get why, for like, haha, Pretty Little Liars, you see. But that man's a criminal. He needs to be under the jail. But hey, nods to the original series, I guess. I want him in prison. Or dead. Maybe we'll see him die like next season. That would be great. Let's do that. Let's kill him. Let's kill him. I think Arya will be a great single mom. I really do. I think she could do it. I think she could handle it. The insurance policy she probably has on him should be great. She'll be fine. Her and the baby, they'll be great without him. Out of all of the Pretty Little Liars spin-off shows, I do think that Original Sin is the best. I think it has the best plot. I think it has the best characters. I think it's the best acted. I think the storyline is a lot better than the other shows, and I feel like it does a good job of like keeping a mystery without there being a bunch of plot holes. And I feel like the acting in Original Sin is some of the best of the spin-off shows, like especially as the season goes on and the actors are getting in their emotional bags, and we've gotten some really, really amazing scenes. Again, Bailey Madison, a future scream queen. The screech that she let off in that episode when she has that nightmare about her mom's, ooh, the girls don't scream like that in movies no more. They don't. They simply don't. She's so talented. So fucking talented. But so are all the other girls that she's acting with. It's a good cast of girls. And I also appreciate the fact that, like, looking at interviews and stuff like that, they seem like they genuinely do like each other and that they're really, really good friends. And, like, that energy radiates through the screen, that not only are they acting, but they actually do like each other and you can feel it. And I think that's always great, because it sucks when you have like a cast of girls and you can tell they do not fuck with each other. Like, it is very like palpable that they do not like each other and they're here for a check. But with Original Sins, you can tell it's like, no, these girls are friends. They're friends. But I can't wait from like 20 years from now when they come back for a little reunion thing. Oh, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be so great. I really do hope Original Sins gets a second season. I won't be too upset if it doesn't, because it does feel like everything is nicely wrapped up. So if there isn't a second season, I'm not too upset, but it still has place for it to continue on. So I think that's good. I would highly recommend watching Original Sins, especially when we're talking about the genre of remaking like classic teen shows. I think as of right now, Original Sin has done it the best. And again, if you like horror and slasher, I think you would really, really enjoy Original Sins. It's funny in some places, which is necessary for a good slasher, and quirky, but also like the killing is great. The right people die. The people that you desperately want to die, oh, they get got. And that's simply what you need. I need the bitches I don't like to get out. And they do. Talk about you, Chip. Have fun shaking hands with Ronald Reagan in hell. You piece of shit. But, again, still good. Still good. I really liked it. I really, really did. It was a fun time. I didn't expect to like it so much to the point where I wanted to make a video. Like, that never crossed my mind. I thought it was okay and it was fine. And then it just slowly got better and better and better. And now I'm begging HBO for a second season. Please don't take this from me. You're taking so many other things. Let me have a second season of this and Sex Lives of College Girls. That's all I'm asking for. And maybe a second season for Minx. I did enjoy Minx. That was really, really good. But please, let me have my things. You can take Gossip Girl though. But that's trash. That was garbage. But like, Original Sins, that's real television. That's a real television right there. But yeah, that's it for me. What are your guys' thoughts and opinions on Original Sins? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Have you watched it yet? Are you just here because you want to support me? Like, what is the tea? How do you feel? Who are your favorite characters? Who are your least favorite characters? Who was your favorite death this season? It was Tyler. It was Chip. Followed very closely by Tyler. I'm upset that Karen's boyfriend wasn't murdered. Like, I know he really didn't do anything, but we should kill him. I also really like Noah's boyfriend, the other football player, even though he definitely is taking drugs to like steroids and shit. But he got the nerve to turn his nose up to her mama like, baby, you on drugs too. A quick little PP test. Get your ass caught up. But he's still a good boyfriend. minus the steroids. But he a good boyfriend, you know. There's only like I think it's him, and I'm shaky on him and Mouse's boyfriend. Those are only two men I trusted this season, because the rest of the men, I could tell that was bad people. Also, shout out to Mrs. Beasley, who stabbed Mr. Beasley. Good for her. Good for her. She deserved that. But yeah, that's it for me. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye, guys.